Okay, today we're going to discuss the recent case involving the NLRB and Boeing aircraft. And the problem is that Boeing has been building its new jetliners in Washington State, but it's had a problem in Washington with its union. They strike approximately once every 3 or 4 years. This has cost Boeing billions. So as a result of that and the desire to launch this new product line, they attempted to enter into negotiations with their union where the union would agree for certain incentives not to strike during the next contract period. This would protect the product. When they were unable to reach agreements with the union about on that topic, they made a decision that they wanted to build a new factory in South Carolina, a right-to-work state. You can technically unionize in right-to-work states, but it becomes a very problematic thing, and unions are not very successful at it. They can't compel you to join the union, and they can't compel you to pay union dues or fees as a condition to work, and it's very difficult to organize under those circumstances. Now, the important thing to understand is that Boeing didn't reduce any work at its plant in Washington. To the contrary, they added 2,000 more jobs in Washington State to this project. Problem is, Boeing has a backlog of 850 orders and can only build about 7 planes a month. So what it wanted to do was build an additional 3 planes a month in South Carolina. Enter the NLRB, which only last month said that Boeing had violated the law by discriminating against the workers and relocating work from Washington to South Carolina. This was like a thunderclap because they've been building the plant in South Carolina for 2 years without any legal objections, and the plant is scheduled to open next year. If Boeing were compelled to close that plant and move back to Washington, it would cost millions of dollars. It'll probably cost millions of dollars in legal fees alone to discuss the matter. More crucially, Boeing would have to delay production on its new liner for several years as well. This has ignited something of a firestorm controversy between the unions and between the NLRB and its supporters. The NLRB is saying that this is a routine thing it's doing. It's suppressing some attempts to punish the free speech of unions. But former NLRB chairman says that this is an unprecedented act by the union and a massive expansion of the board's authority. The same position is taken by the Heritage Foundation. Here's the problem. It's wrong to discriminate against someone or punish someone because of their support for a union. But is a company like Boeing, after it's fully negotiated with its union, although it didn't have to, compelled to ignore the fact that the union's behavior has cost it several $billions and to make a decision, a capital decision, which is supposed to be beyond the scope of labor negotiations, such as where to build work or where to build a plant? Is it prohibited from either discussing with the unions the problems that are created like strike, serious problems like undermining customer confidence, and threatening the future of the company if it can't deliver or be timely? Is it prohibited from saying those things? And is it prohibited from acting on economic realities, such as the threat that these things present, in deciding to locate not the work that's going on in Washington, but the work that's going on, that it intends to conduct totally new work in the state of South Carolina? Needless to say, people in South Carolina are greatly disturbed by the decision. It would have brought 2,000 direct Boeing jobs to South Carolina and another 6,000 jobs from subsidiary companies in South Carolina that would have done work with Boeing. This is a massive strike against South Carolina, and South Carolina and other right-to-work states fear that the same thing could happen to them. So this is a very difficult political situation, and there appears to be some support for the belief that the board's position is something of a power grab further than they've ever gone. And part of that is the present composition of the board. Normally there's an attempt to kind of balance the board, and then the president adds a member or two members from of his own selecting. Unfortunately, at this time, of the board's 5 members, 4 of them were appointed by Democrats, and that means that the board is somewhat lopsided. And the general counsel who made this decision to prosecute Boeing was never confirmed by the Senate, only appointed as an interim. So that these are people who are not fully accountable or not balanced in the way you would expect the board to be.